Hello and peace be with you, friends, from the monks of Mount Angel. I thought this week I'd talk about the next liturgical feast, which is Corpus Christi, the body and blood of Christ, a solemnity that in which the Church meditates and savors the mystery of the Eucharist. Of course, the most important part about the Eucharist, the celebration of Mass, is all that is accomplished in the celebration itself. And we want to move through that always very carefully. But I think this feast got invented just out of a need to also ponder and contemplate what tends to go by too quickly as the Mass is celebrated. And so this is a feast that will help us to savor and contemplate all that happens in the Mass. And not only does the feast help us to do that, but that's what Eucharistic adoration is about. Let me distinguish for you adoring Christ in the Eucharist, either privately, praying before the tabernacle, that and Mass, and say what the two have to do with each other. Of course, in the Mass, gifts of bread and wine are brought in obedience to the Lord's command to the priest, and in the course of the Eucharistic prayer, those gifts are transformed into the body and blood of Christ, and as such, they are offered up to God the Father in sacrifice through the hands of the priest by the whole people. And then, equally as important a part of all that, of course, is receiving the gifts as food. The bread and wine that we brought, receiving those back, transformed into the body and blood of Christ. There's a tremendous intimacy in that happening. We use the word for that consuming, or the consummation of the Eucharist, and the consummation of the sacrifice. Like a marriage consummated also. We've become one body with Christ. He dwells in us. We become a temple of Christ. This happens in every celebration of the Eucharist. And yet, here's how adoration of Christ in the Blessed Sacrament is somehow different from that, but obviously related to that. Christ also, who becomes so intimate that we become one body with him in the celebration of the Eucharist, he also comes to me as another, as across from me, as God coming to me, and such that I see him coming, and I gaze on him, and I adore him, and I need to do that. And that's what we do when we pray before the Blessed Sacrament in the Tabernacle, and then, as we do on this day, the Feast of Corpus Christi, to expose the sacrament in the monstrance. And here at Mount Angel and in many places, we will have a procession out here in the garden that I'm standing in, singing wonderful hymns to Christ in the Eucharist. And why do that? It's like saying, there's Christ, I can see him. He's making this, he's given us in the sacrament this huge sign of, I'm here with you and for you. And so we just take that sacrament, as it were, and we say, then come along with us in our procession through life. Come along with us where we live. We'll show you our house. We'll show you our garden. We have a wonderful view here. We'll look out over the whole valley, and we will bless the whole valley with the presence of Christ that this wonderful sacrament is. That's what the Feast of Corpus Christi is about. We have Mass every Sunday, and for those of us that have the privilege, Mass every day. This is the center of our lives as Christians. But to ponder it ever more deeply, we have this feast of giving thanks for that. So we will certainly be united with you in this week's celebration of the Feast of Corpus Christi, and all of us from the depths of our heart to sing, blessed be Jesus in the most holy sacrament of the altar.